Catastrophic illness is not, but credit card debt is something you bring on yourself, and it's way better, it's way easier to stay out of trouble than to get out of trouble financially. And I will guarantee you, if you run up big credit card debt, you will be in trouble probably the rest of your life in terms of your financial situation. On the other hand, if you get ahead of the game, even if it's on a very modest scale, so that money is coming in from investing, and people owe you money or equities owe you ownership, you'll be way ahead of the game compared to paying it, always paying your creditors every month. So my advice to you is, if you can't pay for it, don't buy it, and get yourself in a position where you can pay for anything, and then we'll be glad to see you at Borsheim's or the Nebraska Furniture Mart. Now let's have some questions. Do we have a mic out there that people can either go to or that travels around? And I can't necessarily see too well from
we're going to have one mic on each side, so just raise your hand and wait for us to come to you.
Okay, we have somebody up front who would like a mic. Anything that's on your mind, ask about. Don't be bashful.
Yeah, how would you advise people who aren't necessarily going into a career field in which you would make a large base salary, such as like medicine or something like that, maybe performing arts or music? How would you advise us to keep up financially with the rest of the world?
Well, it is true that a market system does not pay as well in some activities as might seem appropriate for the importance of those activities to society. Just take teaching, for example. I mean, teaching does not pay well. And what could be more important? I mean, you've got to be as interested in who the teachers of your children are as who your accountant is, or whatever, or who's winning the heavyweight title of the world, or that sort of thing. But it doesn't pay well, and it's a fundamental choice whether you're going to go into something. For many people, it'd be a fundamental choice whether you're going to go into something you love or something to try and make a lot of money. I think that generally it pays to go with what you love. I think that it's very hard to find people when they get to be my age who say that they've loved what they've done all their life and feel it was very worthwhile, but they're terribly sad they made that choice because they didn't make a lot of money. I don't think anybody's ever said that to me, that they wish they'd gone into something else where they were uncomfortable doing it or didn't enjoy it, didn't feel very productive, but made a lot of money. So I don't think you'll find that. So I would go to work. I would go to work in whatever turns you on. It may turn out that it'll be more profitable than you can think, but almost everybody here will make enough money, unless they get some terrible habits along the way, to do reasonably well. And doing reasonably well in this country really is pretty darn good. I mean, it's not necessary to have huge amounts of money in order to enjoy yourself. I enjoyed myself when I had my $10,000, and I live in the same house that I lived in when I was making it, when I had about that. I bought it 41 years ago. I liked the house then. I like the house now. I mean, if you think about it, if you have a reasonable job, you'll be eating at McDonald's and I'll be eating at McDonald's. So we're at a push on food. I mean, in fact, I hope it's Dairy Queen, actually, and and if you come to Dairy Queen, you'll see me. And you can order anything on the menu I can order, and we both can afford it. You'll wear the same clothes I wear. I'll pay more for my suits, but as soon as I put them on, they look cheap on me. So we'll look about the same. We'll both live in the same kind of houses. I live in that house from 41 years ago, and it's warm in winter, and it's cool in summer, and it's comfortable. And you'll live in a house that's similar. And what difference does it make if you have 50 more rooms or guest houses or all that? It'll probably just bring you problems. I mean, you have to worry about the greenskeeper or something when you get through. So I have been in the houses of people where the houses are worth probably 200 times what my house is worth, and I would not be any happier in those houses at all. In fact, I'd be less happy. I just have one more thing to worry about, and dozens of people around the place, and people quitting and people stealing from you and all kinds of things. To hell with it, you know. We'll drive the same kind of car. In fact, you'll probably drive a better car. I drive a car that's about 8 years old. I don't know what it's worth now, but it gets me around fine. I mean, I'm perfectly happy with it. We'll watch the same television, you know. We'll work on the same computer pretty much. The only difference will be how we travel long distances, you know. I will fly in a plane that's more comfortable than flying Southwest Airlines or something, which I've got nothing against. But that's the one real big difference. And other than that, I do what I like every day. I hope you'll do what you like every day to do. And I work with nice people. I hope you work with nice people. And there's 24 hours in the day, and those are where the hours go. So great wealth is the tiniest bit different in a real sense than having just a decent income. And to trade a decent income and something you love doing and something where you feel worthwhile doing it for huge wealth where you trade off a lot of your principles would be a terrible mistake.
Would you acknowledge your success more on yourself or from the help and teachings of others?
Well, I was very lucky in life. If you tell me who your heroes are, I will make a pretty good prediction about what you're going to do. And I had the right heroes. I was very lucky in life, and my heroes never let me down. And started with my dad, and then I had others in business, and so I have had great teachers. Some formal teachers, some that were just informal teachers by instinct or example. And if I hadn't had those, you know, my life, I'm sure, would have been very different. If I'd been born anyplace else. When I was born in 1930, and at the time, 1 out of 50 births in the world were in the United States. So I came in against 50 to 1 odds against being born in the United States. I would have been a disaster, you know, if I'd been born in Afghanistan or Peru or someplace. I mean, I was extraordinary. I won the lottery the day I was born, you know, by being born in this country. So have you. I mean, the odds were probably 40 to 1 against you being born in this country, and they were 5 times more likely to have been born in China, or 6 times, and 4 or 5 times more likely to have been born in India or some other place where it would not have been as easy to exploit the full potential of your talent. So we've all won the lottery in that respect, and that's just plain luck. I mean, and I was lucky to be born at this time. I mean, capital allocation is something that pays off extremely well in this society now, but it doesn't pay off in other societies, and it didn't pay off, you know, many years ago. My friend Bill Gates says that if I had been born a few thousand years ago, I'd have been some animal's lunch. You know, I can't run very fast, and I can't climb trees, and you know, I just happen. Those are talents. Nobody asked me to climb trees now, but there was a time when it might have been important. And incidentally, Bill would have been some animal's breakfast. I mean, he can't run so fast either. But in any event, you know, we are lucky. I mean, just imagine being born a couple hundred years ago with exactly the same talents and how far they would have taken you then. You know, the average person today lives so much better than the richest person lived 100 or 150 years ago. So I'm lucky in that respect. I was lucky to be born of terrific parents. I was lucky to be raised in Omaha in a great public school system. I got a start here in the first 8 grades that gave me a foundation that later, when I went off the track a few times, carried me through, because I had a terrific grade school education right here in Omaha at Rose Hill. And one of the reasons I had it, incidentally, is kind of unfortunate, but I had that great education in part because women were being enormously discriminated against. And so a woman at that time could be a teacher, she could be a secretary, she could be a nurse, you know, and that was about it. So you had half the talent pool in the United States limited to just a few jobs. So you had an abundance of talent in those activities like nursing or teaching, because that talent with males was spread across every form of work activity there was, but with women it was concentrated in a few areas, and that benefited me. It's kind of sad because it didn't benefit those teachers, but I was very lucky, And I've really been that way all my life. And what I do is important as, you know, what a good teacher does or a good nurse does or something of the sort. You know, I think that's quite questionable. It pays off enormously well in a